to start with the 6th chapter, that is Fundamentals of Computer, Unit 6. So we finally come back to our domain. The very first thing is defining a computer. What is a computer? We all know that computer is an electronic device. Computer is an electronic device which is used to perform a variety of operations on the basis of a set of instructions called program. So you write some instructions, you give some instructions to the computer, you tell the computer what to do, how to do, when to do, and on what, right? So you give the necessary data and instructions to the computer such that it does some work for you. So normally if I talk about a computer, I would say that you give some input to the computer using input devices. So IP here stands for input devices. You give the data and information to the processor. And you get the results on an output device, which should be your monitor or speaker or printer, somewhere where you can see the output. And along with this, you can also choose to store the data somewhere, and that area is known as what? Memory. So you give input. Now this input will first, one second, there is one more device attached, that is your control unit. There is one more unit. These three things which you can see. Now control unit acts as the brain of the computer. It will tell where the input has to go. It comes from some input devices. Input has to be, maybe it goes into the memory first. From the memory goes to the processor. From the processor it may again go back to the memory. From the memory it may go to the output device, or input may directly go to the processor. From here directly it may go to the output device, and all these things are directed by whom? By the control unit. Got it? Okay, so now this is how we are going to work. So computer is a device which collects some data, it stores it somewhere, does some processing and gives us some output. And how does the computer works? It works in the form of, it takes a program, a computer program. What is a program? It is a set of instructions which we write such that to tell the computer what to do, when to do, how to do. So what the computer has to do, when it has to do, how it has to do. So everything is told by us. The computer in itself is a dumb machine. It doesn't have any intelligence of its own, but that's another story. That now today, at present, a lot of work is going on in the field of AI. If you have heard about this, artificial intelligence. So that is a program which we were talking about. So these days a lot of work is being done in this field, that is artificial intelligence. You might have heard about Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa. So what are these? They are, even your phone contains a Google Assistant. Morning you set an alarm and you make a setting for Google Assistant waking you up. So a nice female voice is going to wake you up in the morning. It will call out your name. Hi Gargi, good morning. It's right now 17 degrees outside and the weather is cloudy or weather is beautiful. Okay, so all these things. So you will get a personalized feeling with that. So lot of work is going on in artificial intelligence these days, where we are trying to instill intelligence in computers, okay, in devices. Next is, what is data? All the raw facts which are collected, like You might have seen your class teacher collecting. Now every day what do? You might have seen your very own attendance log in Google. Okay, in Google Sheets. What have I done? I have collected the names and sections of everybody, and I am collecting data on a daily basis, who is present, who is not present. And at the corner you might have seen the percentage of your presence in the class, percentage of your attendance. So what am I doing? The data which I am collecting every day, facts, figures collected every day, that becomes what? That is your data, raw data. Okay, you just keep on collecting the data and you keep on dumping it somewhere. Like you have a large mango orchard, so you collect the mangoes every day and you keep it somewhere in a storehouse, right? Maybe in a cold storage somewhere, so that the mangoes don't get spoiled. So that is what you have collected it, so that it could be transported to the factory, where finally mango juice would be extracted out of it, it would be processed, and it can be bottled, and it could be sent to the retail outlets, where it could be finally be sold to the public. Understood? So what is happening? We are collecting the data every day and we are dumping it somewhere. Where are we dumping the data? Dump the data where? We dump the data in collections known as databases. We dump the data into databases. That is, when you create a table, that is also a part of a database. So now I have already created that table, and when I tell you the attendance percentage, and when I tell you the things like the top 5 regular students of the class by means of a chart, name of the top attendance scorer. So all this what am I doing? So all these things which you see over here, how do you get that? You get it after processing the raw data. The raw data which you have been collecting every day, you process that, you do something on it, that is, you process it, you summarize it, you work on it, do all these things, and finally you get what? The finished result, that is this. So this finished result or processed data is known as what? Information. Information is what? Processed data. Got it? So data collected on an everyday basis, facts, figures, everything, that is known as data. And when I process the data, when I work on the data, it gives me what? Processed data, that is information. Next is hardware. All these things you have already studied in the previous classes. It's just a revision of that. Physical parts of a computer. There are 2 types of hardware. All those things which you can feel and touch, like your CPU box, your video card, monitor, hard drive, motherboard, all these are what? Hardware. There are basically 2 types of hardware, input and output. The devices which give us outputs are output devices. The results which we see, that is through monitors, speakers, printers, plotters, these are output devices. Yes, very good, Rakshit. Rakshit gave me the answer, input from which we can insert anything, that is giving some input, some data to the computer so that it can work upon. For example, we use the keyboard, mouse, scanner. These all are what? Input devices. And output devices are those from where we get the results. So these are all the input devices which are used to feed data and instructions to the computer. You can see right now I am using a headset with an integrated mic. Now in my headset, the part which is there covering my ears, that is your headphone part, and that is your output device. Why? Because from there I am able to hear what you people are saying, okay. But the part which is next to my mouth, the mouthpiece, the microphone, that is the input device. Why? Because I am speaking and my voice is getting fed into the computer and it's reaching you people. So for me, input is what is the input device which I am using? Microphone. I am using a microphone, not like this, but it is directly attached to my headset. And you can see scanner, a digital camera, touch screen, keyboard, mouse, webcam, joystick, trackball. These all are what? Input devices. So many different input devices are available in the market for our ease of use. Output devices, from where we get the results. Now webcam is an input device, my dear, okay. It's not an output device. All what webcam does is it takes the video feed and it sends it to you people so that you can see it on your computer, on your monitor. Printer, headphone, monitor, speakers, these all are what? Output devices. Software. Now we have talked about the physical parts, that is hardware. Now we come to the intangible parts. I am going to write it over here. Intangible parts of computer. What are they? Software. So intangible parts of a computer are the software. Software means a program, set of programs, or we can say collection of programs which you give to the computer in order to do some work. And we have so many different softwares available in the market. Like right now I am using with software Jitsi Meet software, the apps which you use, which you install on your mobile phones. MS Office, which I am using, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Classroom, all these are what? Softwares. So all programs, they work as one unit. They serve a specific purpose, tell a computer what to do and how to do. Intangible means which you cannot touch. You can only feel that, you can see that, but you cannot touch it. Understood? Like hardware. The mobile phone is what? It is something tangible because you can touch it with your hand. But intangible means you cannot touch it with your hand. Got it? So we have so many different softwares available in the market, like MS Office, which is a whole collection or package which consists of softwares like MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint, MS Outlook. So all these are what? These are part of your MS Office collection. Likewise, we have many other softwares like Adobe Creative Suite. It is a collection of many apps like Photoshop, After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro. So all these are what? These are all the different types of softwares which are available in the market. Now there are different types of softwares also. So I'm not going into that because that is beyond the scope of your syllabus. So I'll just tell you there are softwares like system softwares. System softwares are softwares which work on the hardware, which work close to the hardware, like your operating system, Windows, Linux, Unix, Android, iOS. These are what? Operating systems. Without these, your computer will not work. But even if you don't install MS Office, your computer still works. You can still type something on WordPad or Notepad. So MS Office is what? It is an application software. So those classifications are not necessary right now. As and when we go on dealing with the topics, things will start getting clearer to you. There is a quick activity here in your copy. Quickly write down, make 2 columns, one hardware, one software. Make 2 columns like this. this one hardware, and over here software. Draw a line in between. And quickly categorize these names into hardware or software. Do it quickly. Okay, the work is, you are already given some names, as you can see here. You have to classify them into hardware and software. You have to say which one is hardware and which one is software. Yes. So over here, let us try to categorize them. Keyboard, hardware. Mouse is hardware. MS Office 2010, software. Joystick, hardware. Notepad is a software. Monitor is a hardware. Android is software, that is a system software. Printer is a hardware. Windows 10 is a software, that is a system software. Next, fill in the blanks. Again, I am giving you some time. There are 3 fill-ups over here. Quickly write the answer statements in your copy. So the first one, a computer takes dash from the user in the form of data or instructions. Input. First one is input. Second one, when the computer processes data, it becomes information. Answer is true. Any device that lets you enter data or instructions is known as an input device. So with this we complete first session. Now there is a second session. I'll take hardly 15 minutes for doing that. So second session is exploring functional components of a computer. Now what are the components? Number one, system unit. So you can see in front of you right now, there is a CPU box, an opened system unit. It's a CPU box. Students, we wrongly say CPU. CPU is actually a very small part. That is, it is just a microprocessor chip. A small microprocessor chip is there, which is fit onto your motherboard, and it has lots of pins on it. Thousands of pins are there on it, right? So this is a microprocessor chip, which is actually the CPU of the computer. Got it? And the big huge box which you see with a power button, that power button is what? It is actually not the power button. This entire box is actually your system unit or your CPU box. Got it? So you can see all the different parts here: CD, DVD drive, hard drive, that is your hard disk is kept somewhere over here. Motherboard, this printed circuit board which you can see, that is motherboard, which contains all the different slots where different other devices, different other chips are fit. Okay, like your RAM chip is fit on that, your any other thing like sound card, your graphic card, your LAN card, all those things are fit. Like you can see over here, all these things: video card, modem card, sound card, all these things are fit in slots which are there present on your motherboard. This is the fan, a CPU fan, which is important. This is a system unit fan. Your CPU microprocessor chip also has a fan. That is for extra cooling. The more your system remains cool, you will see its performance also increases. They have also there are experiments conducted where the temperature of your CPU is reduced to below 0, and they see that the performance automatically increases. That is the clock speed, the speed at which your computer operates, it increases multiple times. Understood? So the more you will be seeing that during your winter days, your computer works perfectly fine. It can work for longer hours without getting heated up, and its performance would be good. And you will find more hanging issues during summers, right? Power supply, the SMPS box is there, ribbon cable is there. Okay, so this SMPS is for, that is for your power supply. SMPS, that is switched mode power supply. I'll give you the full form. Switched mode power supply. That is, a constant power supply is given to your computer. Next, you can see some more parts over here. Expansion slots. These are the slots where different cards like video card, sound card, fax, modem card, they are fixed. ROM chips, that is read-only memory. Some instructions are there which are executed. Some programs are there which are executed when your computer starts or we say booting of the computer. That is known as ROM BIOS, where ROM stands for read-only memory and BIOS stands for basic input output system. Okay, so this performs a thorough check of the entire computer, all the resources, all the peripheral devices, attached to your computer. When I say peripheral, means all the nearby devices, all the devices on which your computer depends upon, like your monitor is a peripheral device, your mouse is a peripheral device, keyboard, speakers. Okay, these all are what? Peripheral devices. So it checks all the peripheral devices, it checks the memory, how much RAM is available, whether your hard disk is working properly or not. So all these things, right? Microprocessor chip, this is the fan for cooling. RAM is fit in the form of RAM chips, right? Random access memory, which is a volatile memory for your computer. Anything which you store in your RAM, it will stay there till the system is on. The moment you switch your system off or the electricity goes off, everything in RAM will be gone. Understood? So it is known as volatile memory. Power supply. These data transfer ribbon cables are used for transmitting data in the forms of zeros and ones, that is electrical signals from one part of the computer to the other. Speakers, on off switch, so all these things are there contained within the system unit. There is a 3D animation of a motherboard which we would see after the class, right? We'll first complete this. Monitor. You have different types of monitor. Firstly, what is a monitor? Visual display unit, or you also say VDU, that is visual display unit. Talking about that, we have different types of monitors available in the market. Basically, monitors are used for seeing the output. CRT, that is cathode ray tube, LCD, liquid crystal displays, LED, light emitting diodes. So these all are different types of monitors which are available in the market. Now going back to CRT monitor, earlier we used to have these types of monitors which had a picture tube at its back, that is a very long picture tube. LCD, liquid crystal display. Now firstly, cathode ray tube. Why do we say cathode ray tube? Because you had a picture tube which contained electron guns. The electron guns, they fire electrons, and those electrons, they hit the pixels, that is certain colored points on the screen. The screen is actually made up of phosphorus dots, okay, phosphor dots, and which are actually light sensitive. So wherever the electron beams they hit on the screen, that particular area will be illuminated. Got it? So liquid crystal displays are actually made up of a layer known as liquid crystals. This is a special layer which consists of a special type of substance known as liquid crystals, which is sandwiched in between two plates, two glass plates, or we say two polarizing plates. This is the liquid crystal layer, and you have this liquid crystal layer included within two polarizing plates. Next is mouse. We already know what a mouse does. It's a point and click device which is used. Just check out how many types of mouse are available in the market. Wireless mouse, you can see this wireless mouse comes with there are no cables attached. It works on radio frequency and it uses this wireless adapter. This wireless adapter is attached to your CPU through a USB port, because you can see the USB type of connector over here. So what will happen, your mouse, you can carry it anywhere, you can attach this wireless adapter and you can work very fine. The mouse sends in the signals in the form of, sends as well as receives the signals in the form of radio waves through this wireless adapter. Next is a wired mouse, which we all are using. Wireless mouse are a bit more costlier as compared to wired mouse. Mechanical mouse. In olden days we used to have these type of mouse where we had a kind of a ball in between. It was a rubber ball, and you can see there are two shafts over here. There are two shafts which are connected here. A vertical shaft, a horizontal shaft. So when this vertical shaft, this shaft, when it moves, it records the y-axis, okay, and when this shaft moves, it records the x-axis. So with this they make a note of the x and y axis, that is x and y points on a plane, and this is what this gives a point. So with the help of this, what can happen, it actually records the points on the screen and it sends the data to the computer, and you are able to see the mouse pointer at specific locations on your screen. Next is an optical mouse, which uses a light source and a small mirror which reflects the light source. So this mouse practically works on any surface, whether on a usually what happened is mechanical mice, they needed a completely flat surface for working, but optical mouse, it can work on almost any surface, because what happens is that small light, LED light, is focused on the screen and it is reflected back from the surface and it hits the small mirror which is attached there at the bottom of your mouse. And there is a small camera also which records the points, the coordinates, wherever the mouse passes on to, right? And this information is sent to the computer. So optical mouse, it works with a lot of precision. Next is laser mouse. Instead of using an LED source, it uses laser. That laser is also focused on the surface below. This type of mouse works well for plastic surfaces and glass surfaces, but on other surfaces its accuracy is not good. That is the reason why optical mouse is used more and it is more popular as compared to laser mouse. Gaming mouse, you can see it comes with some extra buttons in its sides. You can see extra buttons are there. It is actually, these type of mice are very accurate. They work in such a way that because normally what happens is you need extra controls while playing games. So all your such requirements could be fulfilled by using a gaming mouse, and they are highly sensitive to the various types of, these buttons are highly sensitive. So wherever you are moving the mouse or tilting it, it would show, the effect would appear on the screen. Trackball. The trackball mouse is a mouse which is used in places where normally you don't have a lot of space, like you are traveling on an aeroplane. Now suppose you are traveling through a plane, traveling via a plane, and there you see that there is a mouse. You don't have much space there. So you use an upside down mouse. So trackball is like an upside down mouse which contains a ball over here. This is of course a scroller which you have seen in your original mouse, and this is a ball, and this trackball actually you can move it with your fingertip and it can move. So without moving the entire device, you only move the trackball, you only rotate it with your fingertip, and wherever it reaches, you can see the pointer moving on the screen. Now somebody asked me a question, what is the difference between an optical mouse and a wireless mouse, wired mouse? There is no difference between a wired and an optical mouse, because wireless, being wired or wireless, this is an entirely different category, and being optical, an optical mouse could be wireless also and it could be wired also, right? These are two very different ways to classify the things. Next is a stylus. So here you can see there is a tip through which you can write on the screen. You can write somewhere on your mouse pad just like you hold a pen. So for those people who work mostly with AutoCAD or any graphic softwares, they can use this. Presentation mouse, you might have seen that many people who give a presentation in a seminar where a projector is there, so you, in order to move quickly through the slides or point somewhere or mark something on the screen, this kind of a mouse is used. Vertical mouse, now this kind of a mouse works same as our usual mouse, but it comes in a wireless flavor, and what you can do is you actually hold it from this side. You hold it like this and you move it as if you are holding an iron. Okay, so you hold it from these sides, cup it in your hand, in your palm, and you move it along the screen. Okay, this is how you use a vertical mouse. Next is a keyboard. I guess I'll stop over here. I'm signing off. See you tomorrow. Yes.